Welcome to Inner Depth Studio. Tonight, you're not simply listening to another motivational audiobook. You're about to explore an idea that has quietly shaped every meaningful achievement throughout history. The greatest lives were never built by accident. They were designed, strengthened, tested, and refined over time, just like remarkable architecture. Most people spend years chasing opportunities without ever asking what kind of life they're actually building. They focus on today's comfort while neglecting tomorrow's foundation. They pursue quick success instead of lasting significance. Yet every enduring legacy begins with an invisible blueprint long before anyone notices the finished result. This audiobook is an invitation to think differently, not about working harder, but about building wiser. Together, we'll explore the hidden principles behind long-term success, disciplined thinking, meaningful habits, and the quiet decisions that eventually define a person's entire life. You'll discover why small choices matter more than dramatic moments, why strong foundations always outperform fast beginnings, and why the architecture of your future is already being designed by the actions you take today. As you listen, don't rush through the ideas. Reflect on your own experiences. Ask yourself difficult questions, because by the end of this journey, you may realize that success isn't something you eventually find. It's something you deliberately build, one decision at a time. So take a comfortable seat, clear your thoughts, and let's begin building something that can truly last. Chapter 1. Success is designed, not discovered. Most people believe success is something they stumble upon. They imagine that one fortunate opportunity, one lucky connection, or one perfect decision will suddenly transform their lives. But history tells a different story. Success is rarely an accident. More often, it is the visible result of an invisible structure that has been built quietly over many years. Just as no architect begins construction without a blueprint, no meaningful life is built without intention. Every lasting achievement begins long before anyone notices it. Behind every admired individual are countless ordinary days, filled with consistent choices that no one applauded. What appears extraordinary on the outside is usually supported by an ordinary routine, repeated with remarkable discipline. The architecture of success is not made of concrete or steel. It is made of habits, decisions, beliefs, and standards. These are the materials that determine whether a person's life becomes stable or fragile. A beautiful building cannot stand on a weak foundation, and neither can a successful life. Many people focus on visible results because results are easy to admire. They see wealth, confidence, influence, or freedom, but they rarely ask what invisible structure supports those outcomes. They copy lifestyles without understanding the systems that created them. They chase appearances while neglecting the foundation beneath them. This is why so many ambitious people feel stuck. They work harder each year, yet their lives seem to move in circles. Effort alone is not enough. A poorly designed system simply produces better organized frustration. Before increasing your speed, you must first examine the direction in which your life is built. Every decision you make is like placing another brick into the structure of your future. Some bricks strengthen the foundation. Others create hidden cracks that remain invisible until years later. Success is rarely determined by one dramatic moment. More often, it is shaped by thousands of small choices that seem insignificant when they happen. The way you spend your mornings, the conversations you allow into your mind, the books you choose to read, the promises you either keep or quietly break. These decisions appear ordinary, but together they become the architecture of your identity. There is another misunderstanding about success that quietly damages millions of lives. People often assume that confidence comes first and action follows. In reality, confidence is usually built after repeated action. The architect does not wait until feeling completely certain before laying the first stone. The structure itself creates confidence because every completed step makes the next one more believable. Your future is constantly under construction, whether you recognize it or not. Every habit strengthens a particular version of yourself. Every repeated thought reinforces a mental pathway. Every compromise teaches your mind what standards it is willing to accept. This means success is not something you eventually reach. It is something you continuously build. Every day, your actions either reinforce a life designed with purpose or slowly construct a future shaped by neglect. The encouraging truth is that architecture can always be redesigned. Buildings may require renovation, and so do human lives. The past may explain where you are today, but it does not have to determine where you will stand tomorrow. The moment you become intentional about the structure beneath your life, you begin building something capable of lasting far beyond temporary achievement. The strongest lives are never built in moments of excitement. They are built through quiet consistency, careful design, and a willingness to think long before acting. Long before the world notices the finished building, the foundation has already been laid, one deliberate decision at a time. Chapter 2: The Hidden Power of Daily Choices. If success is built like architecture, then every day becomes a construction site. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly adding something to the structure of your future. Every decision becomes another beam, another wall, another foundation. The question is not whether you're building your life. The question is whether you're building it intentionally. Many people underestimate the importance of ordinary days because ordinary days rarely feel significant. They believe that transformation happens during life-changing moments, yet history repeatedly shows the opposite. Extraordinary lives are usually shaped by remarkably ordinary routines performed with consistency. Imagine two people standing at the same starting point. On the first day, there is almost no visible difference between them. One chooses to read 10 pages. The other scrolls endlessly through distractions. One decides to wake up 30 minutes earlier. The other postpones responsibility until tomorrow. One keeps promises made to themselves. The other quietly breaks them. After one day, nothing seems different. After 1 week, still very little changes. After 1 month, the gap remains difficult to notice. But after several years, those tiny decisions have quietly become completely different lives. This is because human progress rarely happens in dramatic leaps. It happens through accumulation. Small actions repeated long enough eventually become identity. The habits you repeat today slowly become the person you introduce to the world tomorrow. Psychologists often describe habits as automatic behaviors, but habits are much more than repeated actions. They are evidence of what you believe about yourself. Every action sends a message to your own mind. When you consistently honor your commitments, your brain begins believing that you are someone who can be trusted. When you repeatedly avoid discomfort, your mind quietly accepts avoidance as part of your identity. This explains why lasting change feels difficult. Most people try to change outcomes without changing the decisions that produce those outcomes. They want confidence without practicing courage. They want discipline without accepting temporary discomfort. They want success while protecting every familiar habit that keeps them exactly where they are. The architecture of success doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for consistency. A building is not completed because one brick is perfectly placed. It stands because thousands of bricks continue supporting one another. Likewise, one productive morning will not transform your future, but hundreds of productive mornings eventually will. Another mistake many people make is waiting for motivation before taking action. Motivation is unreliable because emotions constantly change. Some mornings you feel inspired, others you feel exhausted. If your future depends on how you feel each day, your progress will always remain unstable. Builders don't stop constructing simply because the weather isn't perfect. They continue because the blueprint matters more than temporary conditions. Successful people often appear disciplined from the outside, but what truly separates them is not extraordinary willpower. It is the ability to reduce the number of decisions they need to make. They create routines that make the right choice easier than the wrong one. They organize their environment so that consistency becomes natural instead of exhausting. Your environment quietly shapes your behavior more than your intentions. A desk prepared for focused work encourages concentration. A room filled with distractions encourages procrastination. The people around you influence the standards you consider normal. The information you consume becomes the material from which your beliefs are built. This means designing your life is not only about changing yourself, it is also about changing the environment that continuously shapes you. Every evening asks a simple question. What did you add to the structure today? Perhaps it was knowledge, perhaps discipline, perhaps courage. Every positive decision becomes another invisible layer supporting the future you hope to create. Years from now, people may admire the life you have built. They will see confidence, wisdom, success, and stability. What they won't see are the countless ordinary decisions that quietly made all of it possible. Because in the end, remarkable lives are rarely built by remarkable moments. They are built by ordinary choices repeated long enough to become extraordinary. Chapter 3: Building the person before building the success. Every great structure is judged by what people can see. They admire the elegant design, the towering height, and the impressive appearance. Yet architects know that the true strength of any building lies beneath the surface. The foundation is invisible, but it determines everything above it. Human success works in exactly the same way. Most people spend years trying to improve what others can see. They focus on income, status, appearance, influence, or recognition. These things are visible. They attract attention. They receive applause. But they are only the exterior of a much deeper structure. Character is the foundation. And without a strong foundation, even remarkable success eventually becomes unstable. Character is revealed when no one is watching. It appears in the promises you keep to yourself. It grows every time you choose responsibility instead of excuses, patience instead of frustration, and discipline instead of comfort. Many people believe success changes a person. In reality, success usually reveals who that person already was. Money amplifies habits. Power amplifies values. Recognition amplifies identity. If someone lacks integrity before success arrives, success rarely fixes that weakness. More often, it magnifies it. That is why building yourself is always more important than building your reputation. Reputation depends on what other people believe about you. Character depends on what you believe about yourself. The difference is enormous. A reputation can disappear overnight because of rumors, criticism, or changing public opinion. Character remains even when nobody is paying attention. It becomes the quiet force that guides every decision long after motivation disappears. This is why resilient people recover faster from failure. They do not build their identity around outcomes. They build it around principles. When a project fails, they remain disciplined. When opportunities disappear, they continue learning. When recognition fades, they continue improving. Their confidence does not depend on temporary victories because it is rooted in something much deeper. Imagine constructing a skyscraper on unstable soil. No matter how beautiful the design, every additional floor increases the risk of collapse. Life works the same way. Greater responsibility demands greater emotional stability. Greater influence requires greater humility. Greater success requires greater self-control. The higher you hope to build, the stronger your internal structure must become. This is why personal growth should never be viewed as preparation for success. Personal growth is success. Every book you read expands your thinking. Every difficult conversation strengthens your emotional maturity. Every challenge you overcome increases your resilience. Every promise you keep reinforces trust in yourself. These improvements may not receive applause today, but they quietly shape the person capable of handling tomorrow's opportunities. The world often celebrates visible achievements because they are easy to measure. It is much harder to measure patience, integrity, wisdom, humility, consistency. Yet these invisible qualities determine how long visible success will last. Consider the lives of people who achieved extraordinary success only to lose everything a few years later. The problem was rarely talent. Often, it was character that failed to support the weight of achievement. On the other hand, individuals who continue growing decade after decade usually share one characteristic. They never stop building themselves. They understand that success is not a destination where growth ends. It is a responsibility that demands even greater growth. The architecture of success is never completed. Every experience becomes another opportunity to reinforce the structure beneath your life. Every setback becomes another lesson added to the foundation. Every decision becomes another opportunity to become the kind of person capable of sustaining the future you hope to build. Because in the end, people may remember what you accomplished, but your life will always be supported by who you became while accomplishing it. Chapter 4: Building a Life That Outlasts You. There comes a point when the definition of success begins to change. In the early years of life, success often means getting ahead. It is measured by promotions, achievements, possessions, and recognition. These milestones are meaningful, but they are also temporary. The excitement of reaching one goal eventually fades, and another goal quietly takes its place. If success is defined only by accomplishment, satisfaction will always remain just beyond the next milestone. The most fulfilled people eventually discover a different question. Instead of asking, "What can I achieve?" they begin asking, "What am I building that will still matter years from now?" This is the moment success transforms into legacy. A legacy is not simply what you leave behind. It is what continues because you existed. It lives in the values you pass to your family, the people you inspire through your actions, the opportunities you create for others, and the example you choose to set every single day. Most people imagine legacy as something reserved for famous leaders, wealthy entrepreneurs, or historical figures. But legacy has never belonged only to the extraordinary. Every person leaves something behind. The only difference is whether that legacy is intentional or accidental. Your daily behavior teaches others far more than your words ever will. Children learn from what they observe. Friends remember how you treated them during difficult moments. Colleagues notice the standards you refuse to compromise. Even strangers may carry a lesson they learned from a single interaction with you. Whether you realize it or not, your life is constantly writing a story that others are reading. That is why every decision deserves greater attention than it often receives. Integrity may seem invisible today, but it becomes trust tomorrow. Kindness may appear small, but it often echoes far beyond the moment it was given. Discipline may feel lonely, but over time it becomes the quiet foundation upon which others build their own confidence. The strongest structures are never admired only because they are beautiful. They are admired because they endure. Human character follows the same principle. Anyone can appear confident when circumstances are favorable. Anyone can appear generous when resources are abundant. Anyone can appear disciplined when motivation is high. But true strength reveals itself when life becomes uncertain, when plans fail, when opportunities disappear, when no one is watching. The architecture of success is tested not during comfort, but during pressure. Every challenge asks the same question: what have you truly built inside yourself? If your identity depends entirely on external success, every setback will feel like personal failure. But if your identity is rooted in principles, temporary defeats lose their power. They become part of the construction process rather than the end of the project. Think of the world's greatest buildings. Many have stood for hundreds of years because their builders invested time in foundations that nobody could see. They understood a simple truth: what is hidden determines what survives. Your life follows the same law. The conversations you have with yourself, the standards you refuse to lower, the promises you quietly keep, the habits no one applauds. These unseen choices become the invisible pillars supporting everything else. Years from now, people may remember your accomplishments. They may admire what you created or celebrate what you achieved. But the greatest measure of a life is rarely found in trophies, titles, or possessions. It is found in the people who became stronger because they knew you. It is found in the courage you inspired, the wisdom you shared, the trust you earned, and the example you left behind for others to follow. Success may open doors, but character determines what remains after those doors close. A well-designed building can stand long after its architect is gone. In the same way, a well-lived life continues influencing the world long after its final chapter has been written. That is the true architecture of success, not a life built to impress others, but a life built so carefully, so intentionally, and upon such solid principles that its impact continues long after the builder is no longer there.